The Skills Development Fund Phase 2 was set up to provide critical support to the private sector in Ghana to improve its efficiency, productiveness, and competitiveness.
Studies have shown that every workplace requires not less than 80% of technical and vocational skills. So funding for skills is also very critical.
The government of Ghana and Denmark initiated the fund with the aim of increasing labor productivity, turnover, and product quality.
And the objective of SDF2, as it was in SDF1, has always been to support the private sector to enhance the skill set so that they could contribute to Ghana's growth and development.
We are looking at how they can also generate income. We are looking at how they can also create alternative livelihood for themselves and the community at large. We are looking at curbing unemployment, and we believe that if their productivity or their skills are enhanced, they can be marketable in other areas.
The Skills Development Fund Phase 1 and 2 started in 2011 to 2020. It was implemented with a combined project cost of $61 million. Over its 10-year lifespan, 48,500 grants have been awarded. 118,200 individuals have been trained, and 117 innovative courses have been developed. The Skills Development Fund intervention complements the Government of Ghana's policy program outcomes, like the One District, One Factory and the Planting for Food and Jobs programs.
What we have done to support that has been to offer grants to train the labor force in agricultural industries so that the farmer would now not get a yield of, say, maybe 16 tons per hectare of tomatoes, but get perhaps twice and thrice that.
We have been able to increase our output from the previous 500 kgs per tunnel to about 8 tons per tunnel. That's from 500 to 8,000. That's more than 500% increase in our output.
Again, we have the 1D1F policy, which is basically trying to industrialize the whole country. It's a good policy. What we have done to support that is again to train the workforce in enhancing their skill set so that the productivity enhancement would filter through into profit enhancement. So these firms that are starting new business lines can now find employees who are better trained, perhaps from existing industries or new ones, employ them, deploy them, and ensure that the productivity of these firms is high.
The fund has made efforts to open up access to the grant from all sectors of the economy, formal and informal.
What we learned during the first phase was that some people from the informal sector were not able to access because they felt the process was a bit tedious. But the second phase has put in place mechanisms where your idea could be harnessed or could be drafted into a proposal and submitted for funding through the use of the project intermediaries. So these project intermediaries have been very beneficial, especially to those from the informal sector. And we've scanned from Accra all the way to Boku and to Wa and to others, just to ensure that if you are interested, you are given a fair chance to apply.
Small associations, a fishmongers association, women's association who just want a little bit of intervention on how to maybe find better methods of fertilizer applications. Little interventions that I think that we take for granted. When the call comes out, apply. Even if you can't articulate yourself, there are consultants who would help you write the proposal. It's accessible to everybody.
The impact the fund has made on enterprises and associations extends across various sectors of the economy and regions of the country.
One is the employment that we have helped to create. We're very conservative in commenting on that. We are looking at least 14,000 new direct jobs created over the period.
The greatest impact by the Skills Development Fund program has been the fact that many of these achievements or these impacts are felt within the communities where the grant had been operated or implemented.
Blessing Basket is in the Upper East region and sources woven handicrafts from the surrounding communities for export.
Looking at this Blessing Basket here that we are, you could see that 300 weavers to 2,000. We are creating so much employment to the communities that we are working with.
Nelplast, located in Ashiaman, recycles plastics and produces paving blocks.
Since we started operations, people are realizing the value of plastic waste because they know when they bring their plastic waste, at least the least person is getting 50 Ghana cedis a day.
I'm Nicholas. I'm working with Yeah, actually I'm a driver, but waste plastic business is my side business too. It's important to sustain this waste plastic business because one, it helps our environment to be clean, and two, it brings money into our pocket.
Again, we're looking at the number of people that have been trained, almost 120,000 workforce across all sectors trained.
The training has resulted in many enterprises seeing efficiency improvements in their operations.
We have seen wastage reduced from 15% of our production to 1%. That is unprecedented. We've also seen some amount of increase in efficiency. The things that we used to do, we do them a bit better now. So it's mainly about our waste reduction. And if you have waste reduction, you have increased your revenue, so you've saved some money in there.
In partnership with COTVET, the fund will transition over 50 competency-based training courses onto an online resource that will be available to a wider audience.
So what COTVET is doing is to follow up and pick up on all the various trainings that the Skill Development Fund did, so that we can escalate it or develop it further to be able to spread it across all the sectors, not only just the training institution that benefited from it. Notable among these trainings is the competency-based training curriculum that we have developed with Makeup Ghana.
Now that we have the curriculum, people have more confidence in the school that when they come, they get certification that is nationally recognized, and so has increased our number of intake. And we are confident that whatever we are teaching them is the standards, and then they can compete anywhere they find themselves.
We are also looking at issues of sustainability. How do we also embed issues of indigenous knowledge or training into the effort or the initiative that we are currently doing?
SDF too had in the design a model to train many of the workforce as trainers. The idea is that if you train people just as learners, well, after a while they could lose their skill set, or when they move along to a different industry, the quality of the skill set goes down. But now we are training many of them as trainers. So as more staff are engaged, as the company expands, these trainers act as the anchor for the skill set that we transmitted, that we paid for. And so by a long term, you will not have these companies coming for a grant again. That's one good thing that we can talk about as sustainability of SDF. Again, we can talk about the number of innovations that have been developed and are being offered. Over 600 innovations. We've also supported many institutions, public institutions, to develop centers of excellence, which is basically saying that there's capacity in there to support opportunities in the market, to work with the marketplace, to develop and add value to the existing knowledge in the academic sphere.
We have constructed the first RFKs, locally produced RFKs in Ghana, which will not be of benefit only to RPI researchers, but the universities. And it's one of the major achievements of this project, because it was designed from the scratch, and then we used part of the money which was approved to construct it.
The SDF model that brings together governments, development partners, and the private sector has been so successful in design and implementation that the model is being exported to other African countries. Learn more about the Skills Development Fund impacts at www.sdfghana.org.